Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Israel Wake Up. It's our Women Advanced Bible Study Night, the 27th of August, 2026. Okay, my main topic will be what's going on with the CIA. We're gonna look at a couple of videos and we're gonna talk about this, what just happened with the CIA. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel, to Israel Wake Up, and check out our videos. We have over 500 or so videos so far, and this is a sister channel to Israel, to Prophets of Awakening, for those that don't know. And so this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah, Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the 35 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Savior and our Redeemer, and our Deliverer, the Lord of Hosts. This channel was created to aid and assist our Hebrews who are waking up to their true identity in these last days, and also understanding who their Savior and their Redeemer truly is. Shalom and welcome to this channel. Welcome to our Women's Advanced Bible Study. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, songs. We have our Women's Health Moment with Michelle. We have some current events, need to know information, got a little dialogue, and like I said, my topic for discussion will be what the CIA message was that was so secretive, okay? And then the other one is CIA makes an ominous secret visit to Russia. We're going to look at that and get some feedback on it. Okay, then we'll do our scripture reading, which is we in Genesis so far. We're reading 3 chapters every Thursday night on this channel, and we on chapters. We in Genesis, and we on chapter 47, 48, and 49. Then read those chapters, break them down. Then we'll talk about them, and we'll move on. Then we'll pick a scripture, break that scripture down, and then we'll open up for some any questions and comments, any dialogue or testimonies, and then we'll close out. Okay. This moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and all that He's doing. Okay. We thank you for your great mercy and your great power and your wisdom. And we tarry waiting for your powerful deliverance of your people Israel. Oh Lord, you have given us insight into the scriptures of our forefathers. And you, oh Lord, have directed us to who you are and your role in the goings on of heaven and earth. Okay. Tarry not, O Lord, for the latter days are here, and we are waiting and watching for you. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna read the Psalms right quick. Okay. Okay, I'll read 58. It's a denunciation of the wicked. Okay. It says, do ye indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do ye judge unrighteously, O ye sons of men? Yea, in heart ye work wickedness, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. The poison is like the poison of the serpent. They are like the death adder that stoppeth her ear, which will not hearken to the voice of the charmer, charming never so wisely. Break their teeth, O God, in their mouths, and break out the great teeth of the young lions, O Lord, and let them melt away as waters which run continuously when he bindeth his bow, end of his bow to shoot his arrows. Let them be as cut in pieces as a snail which melted. Let every one of them pass away, like the untimely birth of a woman, that they may not see the sun. Before your pots can feel the thorns, he shall take them away as with a whirlwind, both living and in wrath. The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked, so that a man shall say, verily, there is a reward for the righteous. Verily, he is a God that judgeth in the earth. So that was Psalms 58. It's a denunciation of the wicked. Okay. And with that being said, we're gonna go ahead with our women's health moment with Michelle.
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. Please note that the information shared is for general and educational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice or recommended treatment. Tonight, I'll be talking about the origins of Listerine. Open your bathroom medicine cabinet and look at what's inside. There may be toothpaste, a hairbrush, castor oil, rubbing alcohol, hydroperoxide, and maybe a bottle of Listerine. Now pull out the Listerine and pause for a moment. What is it really? Or don't worry about thinking. I've got the answers right here for you. Listerine is now a familiar household product, usually sitting beside your toothbrush and toothpaste. Most people know it as a mouthwash you swish, spit out, and use to help your mouth, and use to help keep your mouth clean and your breath fresh. And that's what Listerine has always been, right? Just kidding. If that was true, this wouldn't be much of a health topic. Listerine was originally marketed not only as a floor cleaner, but also as a treatment for gonorrhea. And even that is not where the story begins. Back in the late 1800s, there was a doctor named Joseph Lister who slowly discovered that, hey, washing your hands might be a good idea. Before him, doctors rarely washed their hands before surgery, believing that infections came from the smelly air as opposed to vice versa. As a result, Lister observed that 45 to 50% of his patients died of sepsis after being amputated. Later discovered that if he washed his hands and tools in carboxylic acid, and if you don't know what carboxylic acid is, that's a corrosive chemical, that his patients were less likely to die. You probably already caught this, but Lister and Listerine have some letters in common. That's not only a coincidence. Jordan Wheat Lambert, a chemist and a businessman, set out to create a surgical antiseptic in honor of Dr. Joseph Lister. He named it Listerine. But surgical antiseptics were a small market, so Lambert and his associates, Dr. Joseph Lawrence, promoted Listerine for all kinds of uses, including dandruff treatment, aftershave, floor cleaning, and even sexually transmitted disease treatment. Still, sales was not strong enough to turn Listerine into a household staple. The company needed a bigger idea. Years later, when Lambert's son Jerry took over the family business, he saw that Listerine needed a new angle. The solution was to make ordinary bad breath sound urgent and alarming. The idea became halitosis. Bad breath is real, of course, but advertisers used the term to create fear and convince people they needed Listerine. This strategy became known as the halitosis appeal. Does bad breath sound nearly as serious as halitosis? Not really. Bad breath feels like a minor inconvenience, something a mint can fix. Halitosis, on the other hand, sounds medical and alarming, more like gingivitis or hepatitis than an everyday problem. By using that fear introducing words, Listerine's advertisers turned a common issue into something people felt they urgently needed to treat, helping the product spread into medicine cabinets, desks, and bathrooms across America. So the next time you reach for a bottle of Listerine, remember that earlier generations used Listerine for everything from dandruff and floor cleaning to treatment of gonorrhea. It may not do much more than a piece of gum, but its marketing convinced people otherwise. Cheers and fresh breath for all. I will be reading from the book of Proverbs, chapter 10, verses 29 through 32. Fear of the Lord, prolonged days. Verse 29 says, "The way of the Lord is strength to the upright, but destruction shall be to the workers of iniquity. The righteous shall never be removed, but the wicked shall not inhabit the earth." Verse 31, "The mouth of the just bringeth forth wisdom, but the froward tongue shall be cut out." Verse 32, "The lips of the righteous know what is acceptable, but the mouth of the wicked speaketh frowardness." Tonight's discussion was on the origins of Listerine, and I read from the book of Proverbs, chapter 10, verses 29 through 32. The fear of the Lord, prolonged days. Shalom, everyone.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I appreciate that information. It just reminds me that how when we came here and how they gave us the Bible and convinced us that it was the truth and that JC was God, just like they did with this Listerine and a lot of other things like the castor, not the castor, but it's a grease. What that is Corolla called the corn oil, what they call it?
Not sure.
Yeah, the Corolla. You know the corn oil they sell they sell it, everybody go, the black neighborhood, they run and get it. They fry their fish and everything in it.
Oh,
And then
yes, the
yeah,
canola oil.
canola oil. Yeah, come to
Yes,
find
sir.
out it was a rat poison. Really where I had started out. And then yeah, so these people um through what happened to us as a people, we just go and believe and they adopt everything they say instead of doing the research on it. We just go in on it and grab it. It's just like with what they did with fluoride.
Oh,
They was,
yes,
you
sir.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
Hitler created it to put in the water to dumb the people down. That was the original reason that he had it for.
Right.
I was talking to a couple of guys they kind of like gardeners or whatever, and they got this new. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but it's a spray that now you can spray it on the plants, on the weeds, and the weeds go away, kill the weeds instantly, and then 5 years before the weeds come back. But what they tell you on the label that you got to cover your nose and your mouth and all that up and put gloves on. So that I'll tell you right there, something ain't right with this stuff. If you got to put it on, if you're gonna spray it on your plants and all that, then you got to put it cover your mouth and all that. What it's gonna do later on?
Right.
If you
Your
spray, you
body.
know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Crazy. And the same way with the weed eat. The stuff they had, what they call it, weed something where they suing everybody for it. Now I'm saying it's doing so much
Right.
damage. Yeah, and we just although they give us all this crazy stuff, we still go for what they tell us. We believe it.
Yes,
Okay,
sir. And it's all behind greed. It's like they can
right,
never have enough. And last week with covering big farm, right? It's the same way
right,
as this. It started out as a house chemical, and
right,
then they started using it, to treat STDs.
right.
And so as I was digging, like I'm always doing, Brother Leonard, from last week up until this week, I even found more, information on this stuff where they do the advertisement. And when they do the advertisement, that is when the people run out. and start buying these things.
Right.
Like they create fear in the people, just like they did when the 19 came around. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody running out buying toilet paper and other things because, you know, the news outlets and everyone else advertised, you know, the shortage of these items. So it's the same way with this. I mean, they turn it into a bad thing just to turn it into something else. So you have to know if it was used on your hair, floor cleaning,
Right.
and to treat STDs is not good to put in your mouth. And the main thing that they was using for this is a corrosive chemical.
Exactly. Right. Even your mind will even tell you when you put the mouthwash in your mouth, that sting that it get. You know, your mind trying to tell you something ain't right, but we go right on along with the program.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And that remind me, like I said, about the how they did that. What was the name of that you called it? It was some kind of technique. What
The advertisement that they was doing, what you
yeah,
was
it's a technique, right? They
Yes,
call
sir. They called it the halitosis appeal.
right, exactly, right. And just
Mm-hmm.
like I was telling everybody about the hydrogen dialectic, where they want you to do something, so they bring in a drummer, and then eventually you start crying out for it. Well, that's what they want you to do the whole time. They're good at all that. And the prime example of what you're just talking about is they put in the New Testament at the end of the New Testament. If you go against this word, which is the Old Testament, the New Testament, then you're not gonna have no place in heaven. And
Mm-hmm.
that just throw all Negroes off. They ain't trying to hear nothing you got to say if you ain't talking about Jesus. Okay, that's a prime example right there. Okay, so you got anything else on that?
No, sir.
Okay, we're gonna go to our current events, and it's a lot of other stuff came up too, pertaining to that same stuff. But we'll come up sooner or later as we go. And I wanted to get out this information right here too. I was looking at it. I thought everybody would check it out. It's a health market. It's called JamaicanHealingGardens.com. So if you want to check it out, I think I'm gonna check it out. They had some stuff in there some herbal stuff that you can order and use. But anyway, so with that being said, we're gonna go to our current events. Go to the first one right here.
We're just absolutely fucked as farmers, guys. Everything is so fucked, and I do not see anybody surviving this farm crisis that we're in. Guys, look, one of the best corn crops that I have ever raised in my life. And because of the tariffs, China will not fucking buy it. And they are the only country in the world they are the only country in the world that buys corn. And so now I'm literally just chopping it, blowing it on the fucking ground because it's fucking useless. It's valueless. There's nothing I can fucking do to it. I am going to need government assistance to make it through this fucking crisis until these tariffs end. Look, I've never raised a corn crop like this, guys. And this is just fucking heartbreaking to me. I don't know how I'm going to survive. You know, Trump said he fucking loved us farmers, and here I am just blowing my corn crop all over the ground.
So this in Texas.
Hopefully he works a deal out where Antarctica and Mars will start buying this corn and save the farmers.
Regarding all these farmers that are now crying about possibly losing their farms because they voted for Trump, this is why you absolutely should not feel bad for any of these farmers that voted for Trump. Now, the ones that didn't vote, yes, feel sorry for them, go support them, do whatever you need to do. But the ones that voted for Trump, do not feel sorry for them, and let me tell you why. I am a builder, and I've been building shit in Oklahoma City going on like 20 years now, and farmers are not stupid. If you have the ability to manage a farm and understand the weather, the climate, your machinery, the chemistry that goes into your crops, you are not a stupid person. You're just not. And especially when you come from generational farming, you have the ability to look ahead and predict what you need to survive. And so when you have two candidates where you have Kamala Harris on one side giving you a whole fucking list of shit that she's going to do for you and make your life better, and then you have Trump on the other side who can't even come out with a normal sounding sentence, and you still vote for that guy, and you are a farmer, you are either racist or sexist or both. And they're only crying now because now they are being treated exactly how they voted for other people to be treated. Got that? They are being treated how they voted for other minorities, people of color, everybody else, poor people, sick people. That's how they voted for other people to be treated. And now they're the ones being treated that way by losing their livelihood, their homes, their income, their farms. So do not feel sorry for them. This is exactly what they had coming. Quick follow-up as to why exactly would Trump be doing this to farmers anyways? And I'm guessing 99% chance it's because he wants to bankrupt farms so his corporate buddies can come in and do a land grab. Basically what you have been seeing the last few years, major companies buying up a bunch of rental houses and jacking up the price of rents, and it's all going to corporations. It's probably something similar to let these farms go to foreclosure and his corporate buddies be able to come in, swoop them up, and now you've got bigger companies involved in more of our day-to-day.
They voted for Donald Trump, and now they're losing everything. Let's talk about it. I want to tell you the story of Brian and Brad Watson, father and son, farmers in Pennsylvania. They voted for Donald Trump, and now they're losing everything. Their story was recently covered in an article in the New York Times titled "The Last Days of Butter Ridge." It's a lengthy piece, and I will put a link in the video description below if you'd like to read it yourself. I'm going to read just a part of this article, and then I have some comments I'd like to make. Now, I will tell you that this article is written in such a way as to make you feel sorry for Brian and Brad. You can feel for them however you like, but I will explain to you what I think of Brian and Brad when I'm done. Let me read just a little of this, and then I'll have some points to make. Brad Watson, 41, awoke without an alarm at 5:30 a.m., strapped on his headlamp, and headed to the barn. Cold air leaked through a small gap in the boards, and he stuffed a paper bag into the hole to block the wind. He knew every detail of the barn in the morning. Hay shifting beneath his boots, heat rising off the cows, the way the milking equipment froze against his hands. He walked through the stalls to greet each cow by name, and then stopped. It was Meg, a purebred cow, one of his best. She had flipped over her stall in the night and twisted in her chain, strangling to death. He knelt to touch her head and then kept walking toward the milking parlor. More than 90 other cows still needed to be milked, twice a day, every day. And that work never stopped for a weekend or a vacation or a dead cow or any other crisis during the winter in which his family dairy business was beginning to unravel. He guided the cows into the parlor one at a time, patting their flanks to help them stay calm. "Come on, girls, settle down," he said. He hooked each one up to a machine and watched the milk start to flow as he ran through the numbers again in his head. His milk check came every other week, and it never covered his bills. Feed, fuel, fertilizer, all had nearly doubled in recent months. Lately, he was losing several $100s each day, and without Meg, the math would be worse. Brad attached the next cow to the machine and texted his father, Brian Watson, 62. "I can't keep going like this," Brad told him. "I could make more by picking cans up off the road. I'm done."
That's very, very sad when it comes to, farmers that
percent of their workforce. Now, we know this is the result of the immigration raids and stricter enforcement, but the ripple effect is going to be felt all the way across this country. Now, you've got crops that are rotting in the fields. You have livestock that is not being attended to at all. And that takes a lot of personnel. And we're talking, so now we're getting every area of food to include meat. And the communities that surround these farms, those businesses and those people who depend on the income from these farms, it's creating disasters for small communities in Texas. Now, this is not stopping at Texas farms. This is going to end up all the way across America, especially in the breadbasket, the middle of the nation, because they have tons of immigrant help. But folks, the alarm bells are ringing. Your food on your plate is being affected. So you got to think about it. It won't be soon until either prices go ridiculously high, or
are you angry?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm totally mad. There's no reason for it. This is absolute stupidity. This is a man-made crisis caused by Donald Trump. Period.
John Bartman is a soybean farmer whose family has been working Illinois land since before the Civil War. This year, his crops, diligently planted, meticulously cared for, are losing their value.
This is a yield monitor. This allows me to see instantly what my yield is doing. So this is 4,134. So that's roughly $40,000 worth of soybeans that we have harvested. And a couple of years ago, that was easily $60,000. So that's a major, major change. This is the economics. It's what we do in this country. We export food.
Okay. So as you can see, it's not looking good as far as the food. Nobody, like I said, nobody really paying attention to it because they running another one of those games on us where we can't. We got so much other stuff. They flooding us with so much other stuff. We can't really focus and see what's really going on with the food. Any feedback on that? Okay, here we go. Got one more.
Sean here. I'm not sure about the rest of you, but as a cattle farmer, cattle producer, or cattle rancher, whatever title you want to give us, I can't believe that President Trump and Secretary Rollins just kicked us in the teeth yesterday.
It's beef.
By saying that they're going to import foreign beef here into the United States. This plan that he's actually talking about, you can go and look for yourself. The Cattlemen Association at the national level, every state is coming out totally against it. And it's 100% because it's not going to have any real effect on prices of beef in the grocery store. The reality of it is the packers control everything. Until we address the four packers and how they control everything, we're doing absolutely nothing. Mr. President, your decision is going to run ranchers like myself and others, no making a difference, big or small. You're going to run us out of business, and we will never, ever be able to rebuild the herd. Right now, as everyone knows, the herd is the smallest it's ever been. But with this action for the next 90 days, what it's doing is pushing down the price of beef that we sell to the sale barn that ultimately goes to your table. This action that the president is doing is not doing anything to help the American people. He thinks it is. I wish he would listen to the Cattlemen Association and others that understand agriculture, because the reality of it is right now, what this is happening to us is straight up bullshit. There's no other way to do it. So I just want to clearly put out there, I'm totally against it. I'm going to fight every day for our farmers, fight every day for our ranchers, because somebody got to get to DC that understand agriculture and going to stand with agriculture. Because right now, if we continue on this path, We're going to run agriculture and run cattlemen completely out of business. Guys, thank you for all your support. Look forward to talking to you out there on the trail. But this, I couldn't even sleep last night. I'm just out here this morning checking on the cows, but I couldn't believe that the president would actually do this. So with that, I'll see you. I got it off my chest. I look forward to seeing you somewhere today and tomorrow and the future days out. But for the next 90 days, I think he's going to run some of our cattle producers out of business.
Trump announced earlier that he's going to allow the importation of 300,000 tons of foreign beef. Country of origin, still unknown. We don't know. But I can assume it's probably Argentina, the country with the most Zionist president ever, as he is self-proclaimed. Guys, this is a slap in the face to all of our own ranchers and farmers. You know, Thomas Massie just had a bill that would have allowed the farmers and ranchers to sell directly to the consumer in the communities that they produce this food, and just cut out the middlemen entirely. That there would bring down prices and make accessibility to good, high quality beef much easier. I mean, going for foreign beef, I mean, we don't even know exactly where it's coming from. What kind of regulations? I mean, what kind of standards are they held to? I mean, we have some of the best beef in the world grown right here in America, but they make it so goddamn hard for the consumer to get to these mom and pop ranches, these legacy ranches who've been doing it for generations. And all we're really left with is to go with the big corporate farms, right? There's like 3 or 4 of them who own basically almost all the slaughterhouses. So all the meat in the supermarket comes from just a few select people. And it's usually full of hormones and all kinds of shit, not healthy. So I don't know what you're thinking, Mr. President, but you just pissed a lot of people off. A lot of our ranchers and farmers, I don't think you'll find any of them that would agree with what you just did. Seems to benefit a certain select group of people. But we're not even going to go there, right? So, yeah, what the hell, Trump?
Chris lives here in Ohio, where we've got the trifecta of stupid. But first, I want you to meet my cows. They're pasture fed, making the best use possible of non-crop land with no chemical applications, and they're working hard every day to do everything right to feed you, a nation, and beyond. And what do we get for it here in Ohio? We get Vivek Ramaswamy, who believes my livelihood is immoral because he believes these animals were put on the earth to be worshipped and not used to sustain us. And by the way, they make terrible house pets. And beyond that, we've got John Huston, who never saw a retaliatory reciprocal tariff he didn't like, and now their daddy Trump is going to import beef from other countries like Brazil, Australia, New Zealand, and Uruguay to make sure I'm not making too much money. Somebody help me make sense of it.
Okay. Any feedback on it? What you think? Anybody got nothing on that?
Shalom, everyone. Shalom, Brother Leonard. Yes, sir. Far as this, they're complaining, just like they were saying prior to. They voted for it. They want it to happen. And again, Trump is treating this United States as a business deal and selling off all that he can to the foreign countries, relying on foreign countries to back him with whatever this crazy thought he has in his mind. But the ones who did vote for them, they wanted to make America great. The cowboys, the farmers, the ranchers, the farmers, they the ones who accepted that money that he put out, was saying he was going to put out and give all the farmers just for them to vote for him. And that was the biggest hoodwink, bamboozle that could ever receive. And they are taking the payback for it.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, so like I said, notice he said, the first guy that was talking, this big deal he made is with Argentina. And if you understand what's going on, those are Zionists over there. That's where Peter Thiel at. And that's where like I said, it's all tied to them what they're trying to do with the bringing in the Pax Judaica, setting up all the money and all the transactions they want to go through Israel and through the Zionists. Okay, and the crazy part about it is these people understand that, and they got a serious problem with it. Okay.
Shalom. May I say one more thing? If they're going to import this beef that they want to import, they don't know how much this beef will be contaminated with diseases and things like that. Because if they don't want the U.S. to have to, produce their own beef, and then they're coming from overseas with what do they have? These animals, as far as how healthy they are. That could be something else that they're going to, want to destroy this place in the meantime before everyone gets out, because they know what's going on.
Right. Yeah, it just dawned on me too. I know the guy said that they don't. He got this big contract, but they don't know where the meat coming from. And it just dawned on me about the what they call that, Michelle, the cultured meat, something like that. Is where they make it on a computer or something.
That 3D printing.
Right,
3D printing.
Meat, all the meat. So, that makes more sense. Like he said, they don't know where it's coming from, so he making room to sell this so-called cultured 3D meat that they done started or generate, which is like they'll be making money hand over fist by selling that. You got something?
Yes, sir. I was going to say, when I was listening to Trump talk about that and how much was going to be imported, and the video that I was watching, Brother Leonard, is they were saying that they were going to be importing lean beef trimmings. So
Right.
That's totally different from beef because trimmings is, small bits of leftover lean meat cut from other meats, you know what I'm saying, such as steak or roast beef or whatever that's blended together with other stuff to make ground beef. So sometimes they say things that we kind of overlook and not pay attention to, that we kind of need to research, and then that's going to be I think the video said like 90 days or something like that, where it's going to be 300,000 tons. Right. And it was going to be sold at a 25% less cost. So when you look at that, you don't know what's still mixed all together to look like ground beef.
Exactly, right.
So we don't know what we're gonna, be getting, and he's saying, the goal is to lower high ground beef prices and all this other stuff, but really I don't think that's truly what it's about. So when he first came into office, he talked about a golden age, for the farmers, and I don't think that they're seeing that. They're not seeing that.
They're not seeing it. Right, exactly, right. And the crazy part about it is, when you understand what they're doing, everything fall right in place. You can see it because of they want you to think they're getting the meat from a foreign source, but the whole time it's right here in America. So look at the money that they making because they're not shipped. It's not being transported. The transportation part of it is all being done in the lab, but they want you to think, and the population and the populace to think that it's being, they got some kind of other deal with some other country, but it ain't. The whole time it's right here. Ain't that something?
Yes, sir. Shalom. Yes, sir. So they all we have to have, and as they said in many products, 25% of the real thing or 10% of the real thing, and they'll pass it as beef. They'll pass it as whatever, whatever it is, even with the medicine. Long as it has a percentage of whatever it is, they can pass it on. So,
Right.
like Sister Michelle says, don't know what you got. Long as they got some that lean scrap meat in there, they can say it's beef because it's 25%, and they can
Right.
pass it.
As long as it look like beef, that's all they mad. That's all they concerned with. If they can get it by the consumer, on its appearance, they'll sell it all day long. Okay.
Yes, sir, with the rich red dye in it, and then you really thinking it's good meat because it's got that red dye, blood looking into it. Yes, sir.
Exactly. So we got some need to know information right here. I thought this is pretty interesting. Check it out.
Over 30,000 people in 1 month dead. Not in a war, not in a pandemic, dead because it was too hot outside. Europe has just recorded more than 32,000 excess deaths in just 1 month between mid-July and mid-August alone. And that number is from just 23 countries. Eastern Europe is not even counted, viewers. Germany, 14,000 dead. France, 7,300 dead. Spain, 4,500 dead. England, nearly 3,000 dead. Belgium, 2,570 dead for a country of just 11 million people. If these were attacks, the world would call it a continental emergency. But because it is heat, the world is calling it summer.
There are machines on the market right now generating abundant.
Hello and welcome. I am Nikita Kapoor and you are watching Decoded. And in this episode, viewers, we decode the one question. Why is Europe burning and why are its people dying? Let's look at when Europe actually died. According to Euromomo, which is Europe's official mortality monitoring platform, the deadliest week was the last week of June, close to 16,000 excess deaths in just 7 days. Second deadliest, first week of July, another 8,000 deaths in just 1 week. What happened in those 2 weeks? Europe was hit by what scientists are calling a heat dome, a high pressure system that parked itself over the continent and did not move at all. July became Spain's joint hottest month since records began in 1961. Germany just set its grimmest record ever. Since the Robert Koch Institute started counting heat deaths in 2016, it has never seen 14,000 deaths. This August, it broke that record. And AFP, which compiled data from 8 countries, Austria, Belgium, England, France, Germany, Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, from late May to August, found 33,000 deaths. And this is provisional. The final toll will climb. So why does 42 degrees kill in Europe when 47 degrees in Dubai does not kill at this scale? Why is Europe so vulnerable? This is the core of our story, viewers. There are 3 reasons for that. Reason number 1, Europe is built to trap heat, not release it. I'll tell you how. This is not a joke. European cities were built for winter. They were not built for summer. Paris, Berlin, London, stone buildings 5-story apartments built 100 years ago with small windows, no cross ventilation, black slate roofs that absorb heat. In Europe, less than 20% homes have air conditioning. In America, it is 90%. In France, it is 25%. In Germany, it is under 5%. Why? Because for 100 years, Europe did not need AC. Average summer temperature in Germany was 17 degrees. Now it is 27 with spikes of 40 every single week. And cities have become urban heat islands. Concrete and asphalt trap heat in the day and release it at night. So nights don't cool. In Madrid, night temperature stayed at 31 degrees for 10 days straight. The human body needs night cooling to recover. Without it, your heart works 24 hours to cool you down, and then it fades. Reason number 2, the older and lonelier you are, the more you die. I want you to look at who died. Germany's Robert Koch Institute said it clearly, 75 plus. Over 75 years bore the brunt. Europe is the oldest continent on earth. Italy, Germany, Spain, median age is over 46. Millions of elderly live alone in top floor apartments with no elevator, no AC. Heat doesn't kill you like a heart attack instantly. It kills you in steps. You get dehydrated, your blood thickens, your kidney fails, you get confused, you don't drink enough water, you fall, you don't call anyone. France saw this in 2003, 15,000 dead. The government promised that this would never happen again. They made a heat plan as well. By this summer, 7,300 are dead between May and July alone. And the late July heat wave is not even counted yet. Reason number 3, this is not a heat wave, it is a climate shift, plus drought, plus wildfire. And this is the biggest why here. What Europe is witnessing is not just one heat wave, viewers. It was 3 disasters feeding each other at the same time. 1, the heat dome, of course, brought Sahara air to Europe. Temperatures hit 47.2 in Spain, 44 in France. 2, drought. No rain for 40 days in parts of Germany and France. Rivers dried, soil dried. Dry soils means no evaporation, which means air gets even hotter. Drier ground equals hotter air equals drier ground. It's like a loop. 3, wildfires. Belgium is now entering its worst wildfire season in modern history. So people were not just dying of heat, they were breathing smoke with PM 2.5 levels.
Okay, any feedback on that? Anybody heard anything about that? What you think? What you think going on?
Shalom. Yes, sir. I haven't heard too much about what she was, pinpointing, but I've known since they were speaking a couple of months ago about El Nino. I think this is something they want to bring it back. That's going to happen. Scientists are saying that the burning of the coal, the oil, is causing more of this effect for the heat because of how it's going up, I guess, into this into the sky and into the clouds and what have you. But they were saying it's going to be it's going to be worse. It's going to be dangerous in a couple more months. In August, it's usually, or October, it's usually going down and getting cooler. But they say that's not going to happen.
Okay, yeah. So me looking at this, to me, it seemed like a judgment. And the reason I say that is because the countries they name, if you look at the countries they name, all of them participated in the slave trade. And then all of them participated in the scramble for Africa. When they divided up Africa. And when you understand that Yahweh's land, it ain't in the Middle East. Yahweh's land is in Africa. And he said the people that divide his land up, he was going to punish them. And so if you go back and listen to this, all those countries they named was participated in the transatlantic slave trade, and they participated in the scramble for Africa.
Shalom, Brother Lynn. So when they mentioned it won't be water, but fire next time, would that be the symbol of fire, the heat? Like she said, it takes so long to one to cool down, but if they're constant in the heat, that's why they're passing because of the dehydration and everything, and that fire means heat. Or do you think that's what it is? Physical fire.
Right. Well, the reason I'm saying is what I just said about the slave trade and the scramble for Africa, but also when you go back and look at what happened to Cain and the mechanics behind that, he took the melanin out of Cain, and he left Cain white, so he don't have the protection, he don't have the melanin. So you think that's a coincidence now that the sun is doing what it's doing, and the places where it's doing it at, they lacking melanin. It ain't causing no havoc. Like the sun been this hot over in Africa, it ain't doing this. And not only that, when you listen to, it says that it's a heat dome that the lady said a heat dome came over this area right here and it stopped. It didn't keep on traveling. It stopped. That's what's causing all the deaths, because it didn't just travel through. It stopped. It's hovering. Okay, don't think that these people, they're not looking at that, and they're not looking at it. And then don't think that they're not going back and thinking about what they done, because they are. They're looking at all this. Okay, so with that being said, nobody else have anything.
Shalom. Okay, one moment. I'm sorry, but just like you said, don't think that the things they've done. So that's why they're throwing out. They're throwing things out for you to not really. Well, like I said, the science is talking about burning the coal and the oil and the gas, and that's what's making it hotter because of the way that these factories are sending all this smoke up in the air. That's why they're like saying, throwing us off, thinking that that's the reason why, but it's not.
Well, but it don't make any sense. Like we just talking about, they tell us stuff, but we just go for what they say. We're not looking at the mechanics. And it's the sun. It's the sun that's killing them. And like the guy was saying, it's a heat wave that came and it just set up shop. It stopped. It's hovering over these areas, killing all these people. Okay, and so if you understand that it's an architect, it's a architect that created the earth and created all this, who else brought it and stopped it? And then, like I said, over a place where these people have no protection. When you understand what melanin is. Okay, so yeah, with that being said, the title of this video is Europe dying slowly. Europe heat apocalypse kills 32,000. What's really happening? Like there go your question right there. What's really happening? Yahweh came back. Okay, you can call it for what it is. Okay, Lord hosts back. Okay, so with that being said, we're gonna go to play this right quick. Just a little dialogue. little information. Let me get it. Kind of go along with what I was already talking about earlier.
I'm begging you, start.
So so many people don't understand that our enemies, the people that went up against the Most High people, he's back in judgment. The judgment that started. We're in the beginning rings of that. The judgment starting and us being delivered.
Fortunately, that's going to be the end result of what I'm going to show you here. JP Morgan and a bunch of experts are dropping a dire warning on everybody about what's currently going on in the Strait of Hormuz, what's currently going on with our food supply.
Check it out.
So pay close attention here. Let's listen, and then we'll break it down.
Morgan is warning of a potential global food crisis. Could this be the beginning of that, Scott?
Well, they say it is. I mean, they'll make the argument that we're already starting that. We've had some trouble this year with our crops. So Mother Nature.
So this is one of the ways the Lord of Hosts operate. When he says he speaks through his wrath, this is one of the ways he works. He brings famine.
Not been complying as well. It's not a disaster by any means, but it's just not what we thought we were going to be getting. But the real key here, for the first time in a long time, Ashley, is the fact that we've got a problem with logistics. So weather is taking a back seat. Logistics around the world has slowed up. I mean, we've heard about the Straits of Hormuz, but we've got another issue in the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov with the Kerch Straits. We've got problems there with wheat, and both of them have problems with fertilizer. And when we don't put down as much fertilizer, guess what happens to yields? So this is a cascading event. So this is a logistics issue, it's a weather issue, a geopolitical issue, and they're all kind of stacking up, unfortunately, for the perfect storm, where JP Morgan sees food inflation at 5% next year. So that's not good. That could be a problem if we get any real big hiccups with Mother Nature.
Do you have any idea how terrifying that is? So listen to what he said at the end. This could become a big problem if we have any real hiccups with Mother Nature. So the stage is set, right? We're already in a bad situation. The Strait of Hormuz being shut, can't get the fertilizer out of there, all these issues, right? And if Mother Nature throws any other wrench in our system here, and of course, what are they leaving out? Because it's Fox News, of course. Update. This super El Nino will be perhaps the strongest in 500 to 1,000 years and could legitimately be the most extreme global weather or climate event experienced by humanity since the invention of the printing press. The only more extreme situation is a volcanic winter. Okay, the upcoming mega El Nino could be the strongest since the 1877 event that wiped out 4% of the Earth's population due to heat waves, drought, and pestilence. Yeah. Scientists watching every weather model update are getting
sound like the Lord of Hosts to me.
Heart palpitations. So super El Nino mixed with the fact that the Strait of Hormuz is closed, we have an energy crisis, which means we also have a fertilizer crisis. Also, when you add in the Russia-Ukraine war and the other logistics and supply issues tied to that, I don't think people realize that we are absolutely positively playing with fire in this bitch. That we are playing with fire. When you have the super El Nino, you have climate change, you have drought, you have famine, you have water literally running out in Corpus Christi, Texas, because of, industry basically blowing through it all. Now they have no more fresh water. You have all these crises coming together and bubbling up at the exact same time. And our president is a fat, pedophile, terrorist, war criminal, con man, malignant narcissist who does not give a single solitary fuck about any of us. He's building his doomsday bunker under the Epstein Memorial Ballroom where he can hide, and he has drones on the roof so he can send them out to blow you up if, God forbid, you decide to protest when we don't have enough food. Nah, this is absolutely terrifying. I mean, look, I would have said it was terrifying even without the super El Nino element of it. It's already terrifying because when you have the Strait of Hormuz closed and you have the energy shock, the price of gas, and particularly diesel, I mean, it could skyrocket to the point where nobody wants to take up the contracts to deliver the food to the rural areas, right? Because it's not profitable to do it. And what do you do in a situation like that? We don't have adults who are leading the country. We don't. Like, they're not planning. They're not prepared. They just lost a war to Iran, a country that spends like, what, 1/100th on their military, what we spend on ours? just lost a war to them. They're not prepared for any of this. They don't know what the fuck to do. And then we could actually be looking at genuine, food shortages. I mean, it is just, it's amazing how little stuff like this is discussed. It's amazing how little climate change is discussed today. I mean, I get it. I get it because Trump does so many other insane things on a daily basis that it's hard to focus on the thing that makes us the frog in the boiling pot of water, right? Because it's not like an immediate thing happening right now. But like, if it doesn't get addressed, at some point, we're just cooked. And, you can make the argument, and many scientists have, we're already past the point of no return.
Exactly.
And so it breeds this sort of deep nihilism. And like nothing is ever going to get changed. Nothing's ever going to get fixed. And then you add like new crises on top of it every second. I mean, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? So now you have JP Morgan and other experts saying like, hey, global food shortage might be on the way. And, you look at it and you go, I don't know. I think people feel like society is a lot more.
Yeah, this is a perfect example of what I was talking about at the Hydrogen dialectic. They creating this, and then the people gonna cry out, "Y'all, do something about it! Y'all, what's going on?" Then they gonna give them what they want, and that's the 15-minute cities and all the shit they got playing. But they creating the crisis right here by bringing about this global food shortage and a drought. And people gonna start crying out, then they gonna give them the wicked ass plan they already got playing.
Stable than it is. I think Trump acts on that assumption too. They're like, oh, things just kind of are how they are, and they're just gonna stay like this. And it's like, yeah, until they don't, right? Until they don't. And so, look, buckle up, man, because I could see a massive recession or depression coming. I could see, gas shortages. I could see
blackouts,
drought, famine, running out of water. And then don't even get me started on the building of the data centers everywhere, and they need fresh water for that shit, which means people aren't getting it. Don't even get me started on the electric grid not being able to handle the data centers.
Blackouts.
Don't get me started on climate change leading to more extreme weather events, leading to more outages. We could have extended blackouts and brownouts and shit like that. I mean, it is all hitting us at once, and we're being led by a death cult. We're being led by a death cult, a bunch of sadists who are malignant narcissists who would rather serve themselves than look out for the country, which is their job. Their job is to look out for the country. Their job is to, implement laws that help all of us and that we support. Instead, it's the exact opposite. And so I don't know, man. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But when I look at this, it is a terrifying thing to think about, that you have JP Morgan saying 5% food inflation and global food crisis in the next year between Strait of Hormuz being shut, the Russia-Ukraine war. There's a whole bunch of geopolitical circumstances, logistics issues. And then on top of that, the Super El Nino and climate change. Right. Look, don't say you weren't warned. Don't say you weren't warned. I'm warning you now. But needless to say, there's not enough focus on this.
Exactly.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor.
So the thing about that is, it ain't shit else. Like I said, if you back when Creator, Yahweh, the Lord of hosts came and dealt with Noah and told him there's a flood coming. What else? There ain't shit else to do. You know what I mean? You go out trying to build a big ass garden or try to build a city. Well, he just told you there's a damn flood coming. That's in vain. So anything you're doing other than that is in vain. You're kicking against the bricks. Okay? That's how that goes. And then it's not like he's gonna say, he's always sent people to warn you. And it's only for the ones that have ears to hear and eyes to see. So it ain't like it's not coming. He didn't do his job, like he said. Am I not righteous? So, like I said, you fumble with it if you want. You'll figure it out later that I was warned. He speak. He got a group of people he speak through. You waiting on you saying you waiting on Yahweh, but he got a process. He got people he speak to. He speak through. He deal with. Okay, that's how that go. So, with that being said, anybody got anything on that? Comments?
No, sir.
Okay, so
Shalom, Brother Leonard. Oh,
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. What you got?
I'm sorry, sir. Excuse me, everyone. I was just going to say, Brother Leonard, right now we are experiencing so much all at one time, right?
Right.
So you got legal battles all over the place. You got political conflict. You got natural disasters that's happening, trade tensions that's going on all at one time. So it is a lot to keep up with, with everything that's happening, across the board. Like every time you go on YouTube or you look at a news clip, there's always something new that's rolling out. Like you said, even with the data centers, you got to look at how much energy they're taking, the water they're taking up, what they're doing to the farmers now, the cattle here in America. They're taking away, Section 8 in a lot of places, cutting back on food stamps, the things that they're even doing in the schools and the healthcare system. There is a lot going on in America right now.
Right, exactly. And so yeah. I want to expound on that. So one example of, like I said, he got a remnant, and they got ears to hear, eyes to see, because he's already told our forefathers that he was going to pour his spirit out on the remnant. So if you go back to Egypt, when Moses got there, the Lord of hosts sent Moses. So he said, tell the Pharaoh, let my people go, right? Well, when you understand these Israelites, they done built all these treasure cities. They done blessed the Egyptians, built all these treasure cities, did all this stuff with them. Did he turn around and say, now, let them niggas make brick without straw? Okay? Is that righteous?
Sir. Oh my goodness.
That ain't Yahweh.
Right.
That ain't Yahweh. So that's how you rightly divide it. But it's only for the ones that they got eyes to see and ears to hear. And so we come down to the day, it's the same thing. Look at this shit they doing. It ain't righteous. Look at the transatlantic slave trade. It ain't righteous. Look what they done to our scriptures to knock the Old Testament versus the New Testament. Shit ain't righteous. That ain't got nothing to. You dealing with people they unrighteous, and we keep on trying to. We under the illusion that we are the same people, and we come from the same origins, but it's some people on the earth that ain't righteous. They don't do the right thing. Look at Project 2025. I just talked about the scramble for Africa. What they did to Africa. That's what these Negroes have to wake up to. It's a basic species on the earth. And Enoch told us that. But they took it, they didn't discredit Enoch. But it's a basic species on the earth that's not righteous, that don't do the right thing. They do the opposite. Okay. Another example is dreams. When you got ears to hear and eyes to see, right? You did your research. Well, these angels, all through the Old Testament, these righteous angels bringing dreams and visions to the Most High prophets, to the Levites and to the priesthood. They bring dreams and visions. Okay, so if you have a dream, what they call a wet dream, or some bullshit ass dream, these righteous angels didn't bring that. These wicked ass spirits bringing that. You know what I'm saying? So, but who knows that? Because they took the book of Enoch out, and we ain't dealing with that. We're dealing with everything but that. But it's an invisible force on the earth that that these fallen angels created. And they along with this evasive ass species, they manipulating and hoodwinking the Most High's creation and his people. Like I said, soon as if you wake up in the morning and you had a crazy ass dream, it ain't from heaven. But you get up and go take a shower and all that, shake it off. No, it's a wicked ass spirit that Enoch done already told you about that came about when the angels slept with the women. That's bound to the earth until the judgment comes. They coming in the nighttime and all during the day manipulating your consciousness until you figure out that's what's going on and do something about it. You being manipulated and hoodwinked, just like with JC. These wicked ass people gave you JC, not Yahweh. Yahweh said he sent Samuel to go anoint David. David is his Messiah, not JC. So if you believe in that and you getting hyped up behind JC, it ain't coming from heaven. So let that firmate. Okay. Anybody got anything else on that? Okay, so let's keep going. We need to know. Okay, my topic for discussion, like I said before, they have these people leading the world. They got an agenda. They're leading the world to a certain place, and you go to Psalms 83, and we find out that the powers that be, the nations, they all together. They on one accord, because they want you to think they all separated. But they all on one accord. They got one agenda, and they got a agenda against the Most High people. So let's check this out. After all you've heard, which everybody I know then heard about all the goings on with Iran war, with Russia and Ukraine, all this, and you assuming that these people are, they separated from each other. They got problems with each other and all that. But let's look at this right quick. Then you have to ask yourself, like I said, let it ferment. Check it out.
CIA chief John Ratcliffe flew to Russia with a secret message.
So another thing, so like I say, another thing you gotta do is I'm telling you, it's an invasive species on the earth. First of all, you gotta identify them. That's what Negroes ain't did. Hell, you might want to be a pastor and you go to seminary, and then you go to seminary, when you get there, your damn instructor is an Edomite. But if you don't know how to identify them, you stuck out. Like Sammy Sausage. So this guy right here, the CIA chief, they fly him to Russia. So this video is what CIA message was too secret to send. They had to send a messenger over there to talk to the Russian people. They can't take the chance on sending it by electronically or by this new technology. They got to send a human being there to talk to Putin. So that's a red flag to me. But the guy they sent, he's a damn Edomite. When you understand who they are. Right. So check it out.
The big question is, what was so important he had to deliver the message in person? And they're not telling us, of course, what the message was. They're just saying, oh, it was kind of a routine visit. Really routine? He's never done this before.
Okay.
The last time a CIA chief flew to Russia, I believe it was in 2021 when they tried to convince Putin not to invade Ukraine. So what exactly was so important? What did he need to say in person that couldn't be said using the channels that the United States uses
So look how that was slid in. Before Putin attacked Ukraine, they sent a CIA agent over there. Okay, what was that all about? Now he goes another one going over there. They got, with all this technology, they got to send him de facto in person. Okay, check it out.
To talk to Russia. Trump talks to Putin on the phone. What could they not have said on the phone?
Exactly.
What couldn't be said? What had to be said in person is the really big question. But let's kind of back up and see how we got to this point, because this starts with the economic D-Day. And this economic D-Day is what they're calling Operation Economic Outcast. And this has to do with Iran. So the big question is, when CIA chief, the top spy of the United States, flew to Russia to deliver a secret message that had to be done in person, did it have something to do with Iran? Did it have something to do with Israel? Did it have something to do with Ukraine? My guess is yes to all three. So let's back up and talk about economic D-Day. So the White House says that they are going to try to collapse the Iranian economy. This is something they said previously, that they had collapsed the Iranian economy. Then they said, now we have to go militarily after them. So they did that. Then they said, oh, we've obliterated their military, and now they're back to, we have to collapse them economically, which I thought we had already done, just like I thought we'd already obliterated their ability to have a nuclear weapon several times over at this point. But the White House is saying that the Operation Economic Outcast would not only go after Iran, but it's actually going to go after the secondary sanctions. So it's the people who help Iran, the countries that help Iran. And that is what the White House is saying. Here's what Scott Bessent had to say about why they haven't implemented economic D-Day just yet.
Let's see. You in the front.
You described this as an economic D-Day, but D-Day wasn't a threat of an invasion, and the U.S. didn't give a timeline to Germany. So why not impose the sanctions today?
Well, we are giving everyone the opportunity to remedy bad behavior. Why would I want to blow up the global financial system?
Have you ever looked yourself up online? What's shocking is how much current phone number, even my friends fill in the rest of the gaps. They had current and previous addresses, phone numbers, family members, email addresses. Everything is out there for anyone to see. This is outrageous. It's unbelievable that this is legal. But data brokers are allowed to sell our data for billions of dollars, betting you won't do anything about it or even know for something. So you can even call, text, and email insurance. So go to cloaked.com/Kim Iversen that you plotted against Iran is actually going to blow us all up. Oh, kind of sounds like dropping a nuke. How that would be just absolutely terrible for the world, not just for Iran. So he goes on to say in a tweet, President Trump has dismantled Iran's military capabilities, destroyed nearly 100% of its military factories, and buried its nuclear program. Okay, so, and then he goes on to say, so we're now in the end game. Wait a minute, I thought that was the end game. I thought that it was just to stop them from having a nuclear weapon. But he says, no, now we're entering the end game. Okay, that wasn't enough. At dawn begins an economic D-Day, the single greatest financial offensive ever marshaled against an adversary. The Islamic Republic has subsisted by dressing extortion as security guarantees. It has drawn strength from a calculus that regards Iranian retaliation as certain and American enforcement as negotiable. Under President Trump, that era is over, and those who fear the danger of defying Tehran ought not to discount the cost of testing Washington. The president has created the conditions to leverage every agency, every authority and action many assume we never would summon. Our objective is to sever every economic lifeline that sustains the tyrannical regime until Tehran stands alone. Oh, this sounds so scary. So he released this 3 days ago, and guess what? They still have not done economic D-Day. And Scott Bessent says, well, I'd be blowing up the entire global economy if we did this. So he's talking tough. They haven't started it. And now reports are coming out that they're going to taco on this. Trump always caves. So they're going to taco on this, or it's Trump always chickens out. That's what taco stands for. So, okay. Iran is suffering financially. There's no doubt about that. They have, in fact, let me just go ahead and show you their, the cost of their food right now has very much skyrocketed. The United States, by the way, our economy is suffering. We're not doing great. We're kind of stagnant more than anything. The real pressure we're feeling is on gasoline, which is about 35% higher, which is a lot. And of course, that will eventually bleed over into absolutely everything. It starts with just the price of gas, but then it goes on from there. But Iran has been really, truly seeing some very serious economic implications with this war. But they've been able to withstand it, and they seem to want to withstand it. And my guess is they would withstand more. What they don't want is for the Americans and the Israelis to be able to just bomb them willy-nilly and kill their school kids. That's what they don't want more than anything. So they'll deal with the price of tomatoes and eggs going up. And right now those prices are up. If you look at this chart, tomatoes are up 71%, cooking oil is up 177%, eggs are up 129%. This is from beginning of the war to now. Insulin, the drug that is needed for people to survive, that is up 642%. So that one is life and death. You got sugar is up 21%, rice is up 2%, orange is up 106%. So baby formula, 95%. So they're definitely seeing some economic impacts of this war. But again, is it enough to get them to collapse? They've been dealing with our sanctions for a long, long time. And the only real way that these sanctions are going to work is if you can actually get Russia, which might have something to do with the secret meeting. Russia and China need to get on board. But China says, no, we're not getting on board. Sorry, guys, but we're not going to do it. Their spokesperson says economic D-Day against Iran. China is firmly against sanctions that have no basis in international law or UN Security Council mandate. Economic warfare and maximum pressure provide no solution. They only serve to fuel tensions, disrupt global economic and financial order, and hurt everyone else's interests. Dialogue and negotiation is the only right way forward. China's cooperation with Iran complies with international law. We are closely following the situation and will do everything necessary to protect China's rights and interests. So China already came out and said, sorry, no, we're not actually going to go along with this. And China is the #1 trader with Iran. So you're not really cutting Iran off at the knees with this economic D-Day if China's not going to go along with it. So, you know, Iran's going to be impacted, but by how much if China's still stepping in and if Russia's still stepping in? And China even warns that it might even retaliate over sanctions against Iran because it hurts the Chinese economy. Again, Scott Bessent has admitted that economic D-Day hurts the world. So China's saying, yeah, if we go along with this, we're going to hurt ourselves. Why would we do that? This is your war. You guys are the idiots. So this might be why Trump is chickening out, why he might be talking. Or it could be when the head CIA chief decided to fly to Russia with a secret message. What was the secret message? What we know is that this plane ended up going, you know, this is how we found out about it, was that the military plane flew from the United States to Latvia. Then it's a Boeing C-17A Globemaster III. Then it flew from Latvia to Moscow. And it was spotted and it was recorded. And people said, what the heck? The Americans are coming into Moscow. Who is it? And then it was speculated that there was the CIA chief. And then it was confirmed that it was the CIA chief. Although they said that the CIA did not meet, that John Ratcliffe did not meet with Putin. However, unofficial sources say he did meet with Putin. And we're not being told what was said. We're not going to be finding out what was said because this is the top spy. So the top spy had a spy message from Moscow. So the big question is, and we have to speculate on this one, but the big question is, what was the top spy saying? So you've got this whole mixture of things going on. You've got, you know, Scott Bessent talking tough saying, that's it, we're going to finally collapse you. And then you've got China saying, nah, we're not really going to go along with it. Russia doesn't really say anything about it. There's a bit of leverage, right? The United States thinks they might have some leverage over Russia because they've got the Ukraine war and the funding of Ukraine. So what did John Ratcliffe say when he went to Moscow? Did he say, we're going to be stabbing the Ukrainians in the back? Is that what he says to Putin? We're willing to stab them in the back. Because the United States doesn't really like Ukraine or care about Ukraine. The United States loves Israel and will do anything for Israel. So did the Americans fly secretly to Moscow to say, that's it, we're going to undercut the Ukrainians. We threw them at you. Yeah, we were trying to get at you, but now we've got a different war that we're more interested in. And we're actually interested in making sure Iran collapses for the Israelis, because that's who we're really working at the behest of. And so we're going to go ahead and stab the Ukrainians finally fully in the back. I mean.
Okay. Any feedback on that? Anybody got anything? What do you think?
I'm trying to. Shalom. Can you hear me, Brother Leonard?
I can hear you.
Okay, my mic is acting crazy here, but I was just gonna say, Brother Leonard, they know why they went over there, right? So
Exactly.
on the CNN video that I listened to, it was saying that they was telling them to hold off on the drone strikes and so forth, right? So they knew he was coming. So
Right.
to me, if they are announcing that, right, they knew he was coming. They knew what the discussion was going to be about.
Right.
So to me, it's almost like it's a telltale sign when it comes to the war. You know what I'm saying? If you can tell
Right.
somebody to hold off strike, right, then they should
Right.
be able to stop the war.
Oh yeah.
So to me, it's like these wars that they're having is not meant to actually be where somebody wins, where it's meant to be, won, or to be stopped. To me, it's like it's meant to be continuous for
Right.
whatever
It's the same
reason.
means.
Right. Yes, sir.
Certain means. Like I was saying, the halogen dialectic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me. Because if you can tell them to hold off strike, because we got somebody coming in, you know what I'm saying? You could stop the war. And if they hold off that while he's there and then he leaves and all of a sudden all that starts back, is something going on. And in Russia, I'm not good at this, not too good, but Brother Leonard, isn't Russia and Iran, together with trading and
Right.
all that?
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. Exactly. And that's why I said we have to go back and listen to what David said in Psalms 83. All the nations are confederate together, but they want us to think they at odds with each other. See what I'm saying? The whole objective is they against what Yahweh got going and against his people. But they got the population thinking that they all of them is in different places, but they all confederate together. And then he, not only that, he lists all of them in Psalms 83. At the end of Psalms 83, he lists all the people that working together against Israel. And these people, what we looking at. Ain't that something? So anyway, so when you understand that, right? So when you understand that, you see how they constantly deceiving the people on what's going on. And like I was saying, when you understand, when you say first of all, it's a whore riding on the four beasts. Everybody talk about the four beasts, but they don't talk about the whore. Okay, well, who is this whore? Esau. Just like Jacob had 12 sons, Esau had 12 sons. So it's a race of people. And then so they got a DNA and they got an identity. And then as soon as you figure out this identity, you come to find out they everywhere. They the ones behind all the shit that's going on. They're behind it. Like I said, this guy that they just sent to Russia, he a damn Edomite. When you look at him. So you say, what are you talking about? Well, during the time back when World War II, when Germany was sinking all the ships in the ocean, couldn't nobody go nowhere. The Germans had created these submarines, and they were sinking everything. Okay, well, they needed to send this certain man, a banker, over to Britain. He had to relay a message. Well, they told the Germans and everybody else they couldn't do nothing to this boat that this man on. He had a free passage. Everybody they went to freeze frame, and this dude he got on his boat. He went all the way over there to deal with what he had to do. Like this dude, nobody fuck with him. Same thing just happened. You got all this chaos going on in that region, but he fly right on in, right over there where he at, and do what he has to do. So that tells me they all working together. Like they just showed you the plane. He just came in, they flew in, and no problems. Flew right on into Russia, and went in and sit down and talk to Putin. But they supposed to have all these rockets and missiles flying everywhere, but he come right in, unharmed, untouched.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Is that something? Oh yeah. Well, that's something. That's something to something to think about. So let me see where I'm at. Okay. Yeah, we had our scripture reading. So we in Genesis, and we're gonna be reading chapters 47, 48, and 49. Okay. Anybody want to read? If you don't, I'll read it. We're in Genesis 47, 48, 49. Let me get it. Okay. So I'm in chapter 47. Okay. This is Jacob presented to the Pharaoh. Yeah, I'm always talking about this. Okay, this is one of my favorite chapters. Okay. Then Joseph came and told the Pharaoh and said, my father, right, which is Jacob, and my brethren, and their flocks, and their herds, and all that they have are come out of the land of Canaan, and behold, they are in the land of Goshen. And he took some of his brethren, even 5 men, and presented them unto the Pharaoh. And the Pharaoh said unto his brethren, what is your occupation? And they said unto the Pharaoh, thy servants are shepherds, both we and our fathers. They said moreover unto the Pharaoh, for to sojourn in the land, or we come, for thy servants have no pastures for their flock, for the famine is sore in the land of Canaan. Now therefore we pray thee, let thy servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And the Pharaoh spoke unto Joseph, saying, thy fathers and thy brethren are come unto thee, and the land of Egypt is before thee. In the best of the land make thy fathers and thy brethren to dwell. In the land of Goshen, let them dwell. And if thou knowest any man of activity among them, then make them rulers over my cattle. And Joseph brought in Jacob, his father, and set him before the Pharaoh. Check it out. And Jacob blessed the Pharaoh. See that? Now the Pharaoh, you gotta understand the power and the majesty that he willing. Jacob brought his daddy in, and as soon as Jacob saw the Pharaoh, he blessed it. So you see that? You see who in charge? Okay. Then he says, and the Pharaoh said unto Jacob, how old art thou? And Jacob said unto the Pharaoh, the days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have the days of the years of my life been, and have not attained unto the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of that pilgrimage. And Jacob blessed the Pharaoh. See that? Jacob blessed the Pharaoh and went out from before Pharaoh. Okay. And Joseph placed his father and his brethren and gave him a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramesses, as the Pharaoh had commanded. Excuse me, as the Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph nourished his father and his brethren and all his father's house with bread according to their families. And there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. So, like I said, this is how he operate. This is what we're looking at. This was coming our way, a famine. Okay? Says, and our forefathers in captivity. What got them out of captivity was a famine. Okay? So it says, And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought. And Joseph brought the money unto the Pharaoh's house. And when the money fell in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan, all Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in the presence, for the money felleth? And Joseph said, Give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle, if money felleth. And they brought the cattle unto Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for the horses, and for the flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for the asses. Then he fed them with bread for all the cattle for that year. And when the year was ended, they came unto him the second year and said unto him, We will not hide it from my Lord, how that our money is spent. My Lord also of our herd of cattle. There is not aught left in the sight of my Lord, but our bodies and our land. Wherefore shall we die before thy eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto the Pharaoh, and give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land be not desolate. And Joseph brought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh and for the Egyptians, sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them, so the land became Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he removed them to cities from one end of the borders of Egypt, even unto the other end thereof. Only the land of the priests bought he not, for the priests had the portion assigned to them of the Pharaoh, and did eat their portion which the Pharaoh gave them, wherefore they sold not their lands. Then Joseph said unto the people, Behold, I have brought you this day in your land for the Pharaoh. So here is the seed for you, and ye shall sow the land. And it shall come to pass in the increase that ye shall give the fifth part unto the Pharaoh, and the fourth part shall be your own, for the seed of the field, and for your food, and for them of your household, and for food for your little ones. And they said, Thou hast saved our lives. Let us find grace in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants. And Joseph made it the law over the land of Egypt unto this day, that the Pharaoh should have a fifth part, except the land of the priests only, which became not Pharaoh's. And Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt, in the country of Goshen, and they had possessions therein, and grew and multiplied exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the whole age of Jacob was 147 years, and the time drew nigh that Israel must die. And he called his son Joseph, and said unto him, If now I have found grace in thy sight, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and deal kindly and truly with me. Bury me not, I pray thee, in Egypt, but I will lie with my fathers, and thou shalt carry me out of Egypt, and bury me in their burying place. And he said, I will do as thou hast said. And he said, Swear unto me. And he swore unto him, and Israel bowed himself upon the bed's head. Okay, so that was Genesis 47. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay, we go to chapter 48. Joseph visited Jacob, and it came to pass after these things that one told Joseph, Behold, thy father is sick. And he took him, his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, and one told Jacob and said, Behold, thy son Joseph cometh unto thee. And Israel strengthened himself and sat upon the bed. And Jacob said unto Joseph, God Almighty appeared unto me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me. And he said unto me, Behold, I will make thee fruitful, multiply thee, and I will make of thee a multitude of people, and I will give this land to thy seed after thee for an everlasting possession. And now thy two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee in the land of Egypt, before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine, as Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. And thy issue, which thou begottest after them, shall be thine, and shall be called after the name of their brethren in their inheritance. And as for me, when I came from Padan, Rachel died by me in the land of Canaan in the way, which when yet there was but a little way to come unto Ephrata. And I buried her there in the way of Ephrata, the same as Bethlehem. Okay? And Israel beheld Joseph's sons and said, Who are these? And Joseph said unto his father, They are my sons, whom God hath given me in his place. And he said, Bring them, I pray thee, unto me, and I will bless them. Now the eyes of Israel were dim for age, so that he could not see. And he brought them near unto him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Israel said unto Joseph, I had not thought to see thy face, and lo, God hath showed me also thy seed. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand, toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand, toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near unto him. And Israel stretched out his right hand, and he laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hand wittingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph, and he said, God, before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the God who fed me all my life, lifelong unto this day, the angel which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named on them in the name of my father Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow in a multitude in the midst of the earth. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand upon the head of Ephraim, it displeased him, and he held up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head unto Manasseh's head. And Joseph said unto his father, Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head. And his father refused and said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he shall also be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. And he blessed them that day, saying, Indeed shall Israel bless, saying, God make thee as Ephraim and as Manasseh, and set Ephraim before Manasseh. And Israel said unto Joseph, Behold, I die, but God shall be with you, and bring you again unto the land of your fathers. Moreover, I have given to thee one portion above thy brethren, which I took out of the land, out of thy hand, of the Amorites, with my sword and my bow. Okay, that was Genesis 48. Any comments? Anything ring a bell? Anybody got any questions? Okay, we go to Genesis 49. Jacob prophecy concerning his sons. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Gather yourselves together, and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of the dignity and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defiled thou it, and went up to my couch. Simeon and Levi are brethren's instruments of cruelty are in their habitation. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly, mine honor, be not thou united, for in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob, and scatter them in Israel. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be as the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey, my son. Thou art gone up. He stoopeth down. He crouches as a lion and as an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Binding his fold unto the vine, and his ass coat unto the choice vine. He washes his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be as a haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zion. Issachar is a strong ass, crouching down between two burdens, and he saw that the rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path, that biteth the horse's heel, so that his rider shall fall backwards. I have waited, for thy salvation, O Lord. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. Naphtali is a hinds let loose. He giveth goodly words. Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a wall, whose branches run over the wall. The archers have sorely grieved him, and shot at him, and hated him. But his bow abode his strength, and his arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, even by God of thy fathers, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of breast and of the womb. The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors. Unto the utmost bounds of the everlasting hills, they shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour prey, and at night he shall divide the spoils. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is that their fathers spake unto them and blessed them, every one according to the blessing he blessed them. And he charged them, and he said unto them, I am to be gathered unto my people, bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephron the Hittite for a possession of a burial place. There they buried Abraham and Sarah, his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rebekah, his wife. And there I buried Leah. The purchase of the field and of the cave that is therein was from the children of Heth. And when Jacob had made an end of commanding his sons, he gathered up his feet into the bed, yielded up the ghost, and was gathered unto his people. Okay? That was Genesis chapter 49. Okay? Anybody got any comments, feedback on what I just read? I read Genesis 47, 48, and 49. Okay? So with that being said, okay.
Brother Leonard, in verse 10 in chapter 49 that you just read, where it speaks of the scepter, right? Shall not depart from Judah. What is that? Is that like some type of kingship or something? Like, can you explain that?
It's David.
Ah, okay.
So if you go to, I'm always going here. Go to Numbers 24. Yeah, this is what killed the New Testament right here. When you understand this, okay, you go to 24. You there?
I'm getting it. Got it. Yes, sir.
Verse 15. So what's going on is the king of Moab, Balak, Israel has been delivered out of Egypt. They're traveling through the land, through the wilderness, on their way to the land of Canaan, and Balak want Balaam to curse Israel, right? But the Lord of hosts is there, and he won't allow him to curse him. He keep on overshadowing them and causing them to bless Israel. So right here, verse 15, they found a place, made a sacrifice. Then the Lord of hosts overshadowed Balaam, and he said right here in verse 15, and he took up his parable, and he said, Balaam, the son of Peor, has said, and the man whose eyes are open has said, he has said, which heard the words of the Lord and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which he saw in a vision. See that? Lord hosting entered into him. He saw in a vision of the Almighty fall into a trance, but having his eyes open. Okay? I shall see him, but not now. Check it out. But not now. I shall behold him, but not nay. There shall come forth a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, okay, and destroy all the children of Seth. That's David. See that?
Yes, sir.
So,
I see that now.
so you just read the verse you just read.
Okay, let me go back over to 49 and 10. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be.
So the scepter is David.
Okay.
David rose out in Numbers. He said a scepter shall rise out of Jacob. Judah is out of Jacob.
Right, right.
And then so is David. And then you say, what are you talking about? He got a covenant with David. And all the kings that are gonna come up in Israel gonna be out of David.
David's
lineage. So it's gonna never depart from Judah. See that?
I see now. Yes, sir.
Okay. And that killed the New Testament.
It does. It does.
Okay. Got anything else? Anybody?
No, sir. Not on that. No, sir.
Okay. We're at the point we need to pick a scripture, and we'll read that scripture, break it down, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So I would say that what we just went in Numbers 24, would be the scripture to pick, right? We just dealt with, right?
Yes, sir. Numbers 44. Let me get over there.
24.
Oh, Numbers 24.
24 and 15. You read, yeah, we just read it. So we broke down our understanding on the scepter is a kingship, and we know that's David. So Balaam said, I ain't gonna see him right now. He coming later. That's David. And then he said he said all the things David was gonna do. That's what David did. Smite the corners of Moab, subdue the Edomites, all that. David did all that. And then the Lord of hosts got a covenant with him that out of his loins will always be a king on the throne, out of his loins, which means that kingship, that scepter, gonna always be in Judah. He's gonna never depart from Judah. So with that being said, we open it up for some Q&A. You got any questions, any comments, anything?
Brother, I have a question. It may be crazy, but I've never heard this before. I was going back and reviewing Genesis, right? And Noah's Ark and so forth. So, you know, when you research things and you go back, more videos come up.
Mm-hmm.
So today I was looking and some videos came up, and one of the videos says that Jesus is considered as the Noah Ark. And I didn't understand that. I have never heard that before. That was my first time. And to me, listening to those videos was really a lot of typology going on in there. Again, they're going back to the Old Testament and trying to make JC, you know, the one that is going to save everyone, right? And
Okay.
like I said, I just have never heard that before, and I did not understand how they was getting that out of the story of Noah. It did. Maybe somebody else can see that, but again, it was a Hebrew Christian that was breaking it down. Of course, thinking JC is our savior, but to me, Noah's Ark had nothing to do with Christ or, you know, anything about him, you know, coming in, you know, in the future and, you know, saving the people from their sins and all of that. I just saw a lot of typology in those videos that I watched. And I watched like 2, but after that, I kind of had enough. So I was just kind of wanting you to explain that a little bit again, like where are they coming from with that? Just saying that, like, I think the video also was saying something like the boat didn't save as many people as it should have, and the world still needed a savior. So the ark was leading to the coming of Jesus Christ and him dying on the cross. And they even used the door of the ark saying, you know, referring that to the piercing in his side. So again, to me, yes, there's a lot of typology in that.
Right. So when you understand what typology is a way to put a character or a place or into a situation that he's not in, and you go back and use types in order to insert him there. He never was there. So like you said, he never was there. But if you're looking at typology, then he's the type of the ark. You see what I'm saying? That's the way to bring him in. Never was. He's not the ark. The ark, or to look at the ark in that way it's not Hebrew. But because of to bring him into the picture, they said that he's the type of ark. That's what typology is. So you say, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Well, remember Moses when he was born? They killed the boys at 2 years old and younger,
Yes.
trying to kill Moses. Well, if you want to, JC not part of that story. But if you want to make it part of the story, now you get Herod killing boys 2 years old. See what I'm saying? Now you made a type. Herod killing boys 2 years old, trying to kill JC. So now you can put him in the story. Now you didn't subdue Moses, and now Moses is the type of Jesus. So you take that same story, what you just said, and now the ark ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. But now you done made him, you done made a type. He the type. The ark saved Noah and his sons through the flood. Now you bring JC and say he's the type of ark. Now you done brought him into the story. Now the ark. Now you just nullified the Hebrew meaning of the ark. Now you done made it a type of Jesus.
Right. And to me, listening.
That's all through the Old Testament. That's all through the New Testament.
Right. Yes, sir. It just don't make any sense to me of how they can totally, I mean, maybe to other people it do, but learning, more about the Old Testament and coming into all of this knowledge that is there is no need for you to go to the New Testament. If, for instance, you shouldn't have to twist the story to get an understanding. There was a God, right? There was a God already in the beginning. And in the book of Isaiah, it tells us that idols is no comparison to the Lord of hosts, right? So when you understand about JC, to me as a Hebrew, if you say you're a Hebrew, if you say you're an Israelite, whatever, if you understand idols, there's no comparison there. You know what I'm saying? Like his word stands forever. So he lives forever.
Exactly.
JC is not.
You can't hang him on a cross.
Right. Exactly. That's not going to happen. And then even if you compare the sins, you know what I'm saying? They feel as though he's greater because he died, supposedly died for the sins. But it's right. Yes, sir. And I could not, maybe just because I couldn't get into the video, I couldn't understand the comparison there to Noah's Ark, because again, it didn't make any sense. And they were saying, like the boat wasn't enough, we still needed a savior. It just was a boat full of animals and his family. And I'm like, what? And then they even said that the rainbow pointed to Christ in the future. And I'm like, that ain't what it say.
No. If you remember, we went over that story about how I think it's in the book of it's in the book of Enoch, that the whole that we've been talking about lately, which is crazy, about the Feast of Trumpets and all that, those 3 feast days, all that.
Yes, sir.
You go back, it's tied to the story of Noah. It's tied to Noah.
Okay.
It ain't tied to Jesus. It's tied to Noah. Like you said, he's telling you how that when the water receded and they saw the tops of the mountain, that's how they came about with the Feast of Trumpets. All through there. Let me see if I can get that right quick. It's in Enoch. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, I might have to search that out. We'll talk about it later. It may be, Jubilees. I think that is in the book of Jubilees. Yeah, he was talking about how all that, when like he said, when you understand that the order of Melchizedek, right? The order of they want you to think Jesus is part of the order of Melchizedek, but the order of Melchizedek is from Abraham to Noah. Each one, every one of them was a king, righteous king that ruled over the people. You had 10 of them, from Noah, from Adam to Noah. And then that order of Melchizedek, then Abraham came. Abraham was part of that order. Then it was a gap in there. That's why we just read in Numbers with that Balaam said, I'm not gonna see him right now. I'm gonna see him later, but he's gonna come. And he's gonna come out of a scepter gonna rise out of Judah. That's the king. Melchizedek. That's David. David picked it up. But they want you to think that that's JC. You see that?
Yes, sir.
But it's in the Book of Jubilees. It breaks down. I'm gonna get that and then we'll talk about it.
I don't know if it's in Jubilees chapter 6, Brother Leonard.
What did it say?
Where the verse 1 says, and on the new moon of the 3rd month, he went forth from the ark and built an altar on the mountain, and he made atonement for the earth.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like it. Go down further.
Verse 4 says, and the Lord smelled the goodly savor, and he made a covenant with him that there should not be any more a flood to destroy the earth, that all the days of the earth's seed and harvest should never cease. Let's see.
What chapter was that?
Chapter 6.
Let's see. Yeah, I got like I think 2 or 3 classes on this.
Verse 24 says, and Noah ordained them for himself as feasts for generations.
Yeah,
forever.
there it is. There it is. What that is?
Jubilees chapter 6, yes, sir. Verse 24 is where I saw where it said feast for the generation.
6:24?
Yes, sir.
So it says, let me get that. Yeah, 24. Saying Noah ordained them for himself. See that? Noah ordained them for himself as feasts for the generations forever, so that they have borne thereby a memorial unto him. So all these feasts of tablets, feasts of trumpets, all that tied to Noah. See that?
Yes, sir.
Go to 17. For this reason, it is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets that they should celebrate the Feast of Weeks in this month once a year to renew the covenant every year. And then 18, for this whole festival was celebrated in heaven from the day of creation till the days of Noah, 20 and 6 jubilees, 5 weeks of years, and Noah and his sons observed it for 7 jubilees, 1 week of years, till the day of Noah's death. And from that day to Noah's death, his sons did away. See that? That's what I was talking about. His sons did away with it until the days of Abraham, and they did eat blood. See that? So that's where it's coming from. They was doing this during the time of Noah, and then there was a gap in between it.
Okay.
Then when David came, that's how you know he the Messiah. David, the one, picked it back up.
Wow.
Yeah, ain't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's chapter 6.
Chapter 6. Yes, sir. I didn't think
to read that. I think I got 2 or 3 classes on it.
I'm gonna mark that. Okay.
Yeah, look at this is the last 38, verse 38 in chapter 6. For this reason I commanded, this is the Lord of hosts talking. For this reason I commanded and testified to thee, that thou mayest testify to them, that after thy death thy children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only, and for this reason they will go wrong. That's where we at. As for the new moons, the seasons, the Sabbaths, the festivals, and they will eat all kind of blood with all kind of flesh. That's where we at.
Oh, yes, sir.
Can't get no plainer than that. They killed the New Testament.
For real.
I guess so.
Wow. I will go back and read that.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's what the Christian Zionists and the Jew and the Hebrew Israelite, Hebrew Christian. He don't want he gonna act like you ain't heard that. You know what I'm saying? Is there something? So everybody good? You good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that being said, yeah, what I wanted to do was, I had watched this movie called The Giver. All right, and so it's got so much, it's got a lot of information in it. And what I was going to do is like some homework. So for next Thursday for the women's line, we can go over that. We go over that movie. So you got the whole week to get a chance to look at it. It's called The Giver. You want to post that on Messenger or whatever, but the movie is called The Giver. We'll go and try to get back around to, because there's a lot of stuff going on with these movies that need to be revealed. So we'll start with that, The Giver.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, everybody. We'll pick up on the women's line next week on Thursday, 7 p.m. Shalom, shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it, because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up, and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and there's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is, and the Godhead.